Hey guys, this video will run through the GUI for Beautiful Chaos. We'll be looking at the main features and parameters built into the instrument. It's perhaps clearest to think of it as a wild sequencer. Once a key is pressed, a range of random sequence patterns will be generated, allowing you to be creative with a continually changing sequence. Beautiful Chaos allows you to play with a range of different rhythmic and tonal combinations whilst having control of the sequence scale, mode, and tones built into the patch. This is a tool with creativity and experimentation at its core. The interface of Beautiful Chaos can seem a bit overwhelming, but it's completely packed with a range of parameters that give you a lot of options to create something interesting. There are two inbuilt methods to see each parameter, as it doesn't automatically show on the main GUI. You can click on the Help Overlay button below the rhythm table. This shows all of the parameters in the GUI. Another way is by clicking any parameter. The black control box at the top of your GUI will tell you what the parameter you have selected is doing. For example, this is also shown below in the yellow text above the contact keyboard. Not all contact screens will show it depending on the space you have in your monitor. Additionally, you can click Info in your contact settings, which will also define parameters on the border when contact is fully expanded. So now we have established how to see the parameters of the instrument, let's look at making sound. To change the value of any parameter, click on it with your mouse or touchpad, going downwards or upwards. For example, I can change the key by clicking on the tonic here and dragging. Your keyboard doesn't work like a standard MIDI device when using Beautiful Chaos. Your keyboard will trigger a sequence based on the set key and steps set in the instrument. When you click on and off a note, it will trigger a sequence generated randomly, allowing you to create a range of unpredictable movements each time a key is pressed. If I press a B in the same octave, it will trigger another random sequence in the same octave but in the key of F sharp. The notes on your MIDI keyboard will only identify which octave the sequence will be in. This is clearly split in between the different colours on your contact keyboard. I'll now go an octave down. I'll now go 2 octaves up. This has been designed to help you to create a range of random sequences quickly and easily. The darker area of the GUI relates to tonic, scale type, and the storing of keys and modes. This area sets the tonic, and this sets the mode/key. As explained earlier, click and drag to change any parameter. Alternatively, you can link any parameter to MIDI. For example, right-click over any parameter, click Learn MIDI, and it will now be linked to a MIDI controller. The scale and key of the sequencer is already linked to MIDI via the Tweak tab. Other functions within the darker section of the GUI relate to different scales you may have saved in the 8 custom slots. Giving you the option to flick through a range of different scales and modes quickly. This is a great function for those who want to incorporate the use of Beautiful Chaos with something that uses different scales, such as a live performance. To save a scale to a custom slot, choose your mode, then click Learn Scale, and choose a custom slot to store it in. The black control area will also tell you where you have stored your key. As you go between scale types, this changes the steps in your sequence, which can be shown here. If you'd like to add or remove a note from the sequence, you simply click on the note you would like to change. This will automatically change the name of your scale to a custom one, which can now be saved just like any other scale in the custom slots. This is really helpful if you want to be able to scroll through the other scales whilst having the option to return to your previous idea. Other key features for creating your sequence is the volume parameter in the rhythm table. This sets the volume for each step in the sequence. You can either drag along or set each volume individually. There is also a reset button in the main GUI if you want to start again with your sequence. Now that you can set the volume for each step individually, let's have a look at changing the amount of steps you can put in a sequence. This can be found in table steps. giving you the option to have between 1 and 32 steps that can be automated in the rhythm table. To change the rhythmic value of your note, go to the main GUI and press the time/division parameter. You can use this to play with different rhythms and odd sequences in regular meter. Another feature is the lock scale sequence button under the Sounds tab. This allows you to lock the notes in your sequence so that the loop will be confined to the amount of steps set by your rhythm table, making your loop more predictable until the button is turned off. Let's have a look at creating and editing sounds for beautiful chaos. There are a variety of voices and sound design options you can play with in this instrument. One place you may want to start with is by looking at the full voices in the Sounds tab. Each voice has an A, B, C, or D slot. Each voice has 32 sounds available, which can be accessed with the plus and minus buttons, or by clicking on the name of each sound. I'm currently only using voice B, so you have 3 other voices to blend. In the main GUI you can edit the voices by turning them on and off, changing the volume, and setting the automatically modulating volume control, specifically for each voice. There are parameters available to set the high and low range for the volume modulation too. This alone gives you a lot of creative options. You can play with the voices as a singular texture or by combining them. Additionally, you can send your MIDI to external synths via contact. Go to Preferences, Engine, send MIDI to Outside World, and send scripted generated notes. This can also be done in other DAWs, but it's best to refer to the manual. Sending MIDI will also mute your current voices in beautiful chaos. A couple of additional things to try are the random features by the Sound tab. Dynamic random will automatically change the sounds in your voice, allowing you to easily hear a range of different voice combinations. Once you hear a combination you like, click Dynamic Random again to turn it off. The table below alters the time you have before the voice changes again. The more it is dragged along, the longer the voices have before Dynamic Random changes them again. There is also a randomize button if you'd like to do it yourself. To trigger a chord when you hit a key, go to the Chord tab. Select either Use a Chord or Random. This will add a chord underneath your sequence once it has been triggered. You can choose the notes in your chord with the interval parameter and octave parameters to the left. The intervals only let you cover steps in your scale, and the chord will play again once the sequence is triggered. Choosing the notes with the interval and octave parameter will only affect the notes in Use a Chord, not random. Combining the chord function with the rhythm table can create some really interesting textures, for example. And finally, how the chord works isn't affected by the rhythm engine. There is an Effects tab which allows you to go further into the sound design for your sequence. The 4 columns below the rhythm table relate to the 4 different voices you are using, allowing you to add more distortion and reverb to each individual voice. Additionally, there are parameters in the main GUI. There is a shimmer, which modulates the volume of each step of the sequence. A fade parameter, which changes the release time of your voice. And a spray, which adds a stereo octave up and delay. This also links to the delay time and feedback parameters in the Effects tab. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you now understand the main features of the instrument, and you can go away to create something chaotic.